Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and do a quick review of the Tunical headphones, and to go from there, I had some time to test these out, and yeah, wanted to go ahead and talk about these. So these are $30 headphones, and I learned about this from the Podcastage Discord. What they were saying is that these are clones. The drivers are the clones of the Audio-Technica M50X, and there are some similarities. Let me go ahead and bring that. All right, so these are the Audio-Technica M50X. Now, the key difference, or many key differences, is that the M50X can go compact, and this can't. And in terms of like the internals, I'm not going to actually open this apart, but oddly enough, these are actually more comfortable than these, and this up here is more comfortable than this. So in terms of comfort, I would say these are actually better. So in terms of build quality, to the top here, this is actually really comfortable, really well built, very, very cushy. This is not retractable, so it's not portable. You can't actually, this won't go in. This is basically all you've got is this and this, which I think is kind of a bummer. The cable that it comes with is super, super long, but the one good thing is that it is detachable. So you can actually use your own cables, if you wanted to, which are much shorter. The one thing here is it has a little design like this. I think it actually looks kind of tacky. I would have preferred if this wasn't on here, but that's on there. So that's where we are in terms of the build quality. All right, so here's where it gets difficult. What I'm going to do is actually play tracks that I listen to, and each of these tested different things, right? So the first track this is a Mariah Carey clip, and this is my sibilance test, because she sounds sibilant in here. So I wanted to see whether it would sound sibilant.
I gotta go somewhere, so can we make this quick?
So on this sibilance test, there was no sibilance on these headphones. So it passed the sibilance test. The next thing I wanted to do was to check out Soundstage. When I did this, and I did this test, the Soundstage was pretty poor on this. So it doesn't have the best Soundstage. The next thing I wanted to check was bass. Bass was great. It was really great on that. So another track I always check out, so this is not great for female vocals when I listen to it. The other track I kind of always check is, and what I found was that when I used other headphones, it would bring out all those instruments in a nice, symphony. Versus with these, it was very muddled. So basically overall, finally, the last test I did was the audio mic hotline test. It's the guy, he does basically different microphone reviews.
This is the delightful and delectable sound of microphone number 1. This is the delightful and delectable sound of microphone number 2.
And you see a blind test of different microphones, and I wanted to see, can I get a sense of which one sounded good and which one sounded bad on him? This was accurate. It was accurate enough to know, okay, that is definitely not a great microphone on his voice, and that other microphone is a good sounding microphone on his voice. So, all right, last test, what we're going to do is we're going to get a microphone. We're going to put it in figure 8, which means front and back. It's going to be picking up the audio, and I'm just going to put on headphones like this, and I'm going to compare it to different headphones, and you'll get a sense of how this compares in terms of that. I don't know how accurate that is, but it's at least going to give you a comparison. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use Booth Junkie's voice, because we all know his voice.
2022 is the year of getting into voice acting. 2022 is the year of getting into voice acting, trying to get behind a microphone more, whether you're starting a podcast, 2022 is the year of getting into voice acting, trying to get behind a microphone more, whether you're starting a podcast,
All right, so final thoughts here. So in general, I think these headphones are actually, in terms of enjoyability, these are really, really enjoyable. In terms of accuracy, now they're a little bit bass heavy, and they kind of dull out a little bit of the airiness and sibilance and recordings. But in general, for a headphone, I know the price obviously is going to, but it's $30. It's $30. But actually, I've tested a lot of cheaper headphones that are sub $50, like the CB1s, the Audio-Technica M30X, and a whole bunch of different headphones. I think this is easily the best sort of sub $50 headphones that I've heard for studio, that are labeled as studio headphones. These don't sound as good as the M50X, but I actually think these are better than the M30X. And the M30X is actually, in my opinion, serviceable for editing audio for accuracy. So I have no qualms if anybody asks for a set of headphones and they are on a budget and they can't spend, money on an MDR 7506, a DT 770, an M50X, M40, Sennheiser AC280s, HD 6XX, things like that. But they want a set of headphones to use, especially when they're starting out and buying a beginner sort of interface and beginner microphone. I have no qualms recommending this headphone to them. So I think this is a great beginner studio headphone. It is well-rounded in the sense that it is pretty enjoyable to listen to a lot of music. Actually, it's not super bassy. It's not super muffled. It's not super tinny, and it's not super sharp. It is enjoyable enough. It is accurate enough. Like, I could distinguish between different microphones, and I could sense a little bit of reverb in recordings. I could hear sibilance. I could hear muffledness. I could hear boxiness. So it is usable. So overall, I think it's a great set of headphones to use, sub $100.